My stepsister and I had the same due date. But my husband, Erick, flew overseas for her, all because she said, "Erick, you're an outstanding doctor. You once saved a pregnant woman with an amniotic fluid embolism. So could you stay by my side?" I'm scared. Later. She was fine, but I died. Because of an amniotic fluid embolism. Chapter 01. After I died, my child was still lying in the incubator, left completely unattended. No one rejoiced over his birth. He was so tiny, so quiet, so lonely. The sight of him felt like knives carving into my heart. And I could not help thinking of the post I had seen on Erick's social media before I died. The rescue was successful. Mother and baby are safe. At this moment, I've finally found the meaning of becoming a doctor. When my stepsister suffered an amniotic fluid embolism, Erick spent 2 full days and 2 full nights trying to save her. At last, he pulled her back from death's door, perhaps because he was too overjoyed. Erick, who never posted on social media, did something unprecedented and posted 2 celebratory updates in a row. Less than a minute after he posted them, people who did not know the truth started congratulating him on finally becoming a father. Erick did not explain. Quite a few people liked the posts as well, including my own mother, Luna's stepmother. I found out I was pregnant before Luna did. She did not bother with me, yet she volunteered herself to go abroad and take care of Luna. See? Whether it was Erick or my own mother, they both loved Luna more than they loved me. Chapter 02. Luna and I came from a blended family. After my father built up an enormous fortune, he died, and afterward my mother began searching for true love. After searching and searching, she found Luna's father, a kept man. Luna's father was from out of town and worked at a theater. Other than playing the violin, he could do nothing, and he had nothing. But my mother loved him desperately. Not only did she let him live in our family home and spend her money, she also treated his daughter Luna as if she were her own flesh and blood. Besides this stepsister, Luna, I also had a twin sister, yet she was sent to the countryside when she was little, simply because a fortune teller said she would bring harm to my mother. 5 years ago, she fell into a coma after a car accident. At that time, I was the one taking care of my sister, while my mother never once came to see her. She even took the family heirloom my father had left to me and gave it to Luna while I was away from home. I had no choice but to hire a lawyer and fight for it. But Erick said I was being ugly about it. Luna gives in to you in everything, and you still have to fight her even over a house? Do you even know how to be grateful? At the time, I was still confused. Luna came to my house with nothing to her name. Everything she ate and drank had been earned by my father while he was alive. What exactly did she have to give up to me? But later, I found out what Erick meant by given. He meant that Luna had given him to me. Chapter 03. Luna is 2 years older than me and 1 year older than Erick. Back when Erick and I were still bickering like children, she was already Erick's confidant, the sister who understood him best. The very first thing Erick did after becoming an adult was confess to Luna. But Luna said she only saw him as a younger brother, and she even persuaded Erick to try accepting me and fulfill his engagement with me. For her sake, he should not let me down, and Erick really did listen to her. He married me. He lived with me. He gave me the illusion of a home. It was not until after Luna's husband died that I specially called to comfort her, wanting to tell her not to be too heartbroken and to take care of herself and the baby in her belly. But she mocked me instead. Roma, do you really think you're happy? Don't make me laugh. You only have all this because of me. That day, she told me the whole truth. She also admitted that the reason she had persuaded Erick to marry me was not because she cared about me. It was because I was safe. Erick and I had grown up together, and even then he had never fallen in love with me. She was certain he never would in the future either. She was probably right. So when our due dates fell on the same day, all it took was one phone call from her to summon Erick away, and Erick left me alone in the hospital, waiting there in anguish all by myself. Chapter 04. My labor came a day later than my due date. By the time something started happening with me, Luna had already given birth. Still holding on to hope, I called Erick. I asked him whether he could come back as soon as possible. I was alone, and I was too scared. But he said no. Luna just gave birth. Her body hasn't recovered yet. I still need to stay here and look after her. But I'm about to give birth too. Roma, you're in good health. As long as you listen to the doctors, nothing will happen. I promise. But the facts prove that a great professor's promise was utterly useless. After the amniotic fluid embolism happened, I was surrounded by people trying to save me for 6 full hours. And in the end they declared that the rescue had failed. The only thing left behind was my child, all alone in this world. At this moment, I am leaning against the glass of the incubator room, silently watching him, tiny and soft. He has already been born for 3 days. Erick should be back by now, shouldn't he? When he comes back and sees that I am dead, what kind of reaction will he have? Will he be happy or sad? Or as calm and indifferent as always? Thinking back on the half year of our marriage, we only ever touched each other at night. That kind of unforgettable intimacy once made me think it was true love. But I had only been overthinking it. Now I ask for nothing else. I only ask that he treat my child well. I stare at my child's tender little face. He opens his eyes and rolls them around, as if he is looking at me too. Then his little face scrunches up, and suddenly he starts to cry. Such a tiny little person, crying with all his heart out. Crying so hard that my own heart feels shattered. Just when I am at a complete loss, a long shadow appears in front of the incubator, dark and heavy, blocking the child's eyebrows and eyes. The child pouts, and suddenly stops crying. He opens his eyes wide and looks upward. In his clear little eyes, I see Erick's face. That face is cold, filled with disgust, and the voice that falls from above is even more devoid of warmth. What are you crying for? You killed my wife. Chapter 05. I wanted to kill Erick. How could he say that my child was the one who killed me? But there was nothing I could do. I watched him hire a nanny, from the hospital to the house. The nanny was the one taking care of the baby the whole time, day after day. Later, he resigned from the hospital and took over the family business. He had even less time to care about the child. When the baby started learning to speak, the first sound he made was calling the nanny Auntie. I was not jealous. It was only right that the nanny treated him well. But by the time he was 5, he gradually began to understand things. Other people had mothers. He did not. Other people had fathers who doted on them, while Erick never cared about him. A child who is not loved always develops a few pitiful little tricks. He was always pretending to fall down, pretending to bump into tables and chairs. Then he would let out a soft little ow, trying to attract Erick's attention. It was done on purpose, but he really did get hurt. Sometimes there would even be a bump on his forehead. The child would be in pain, tears filling his eyes. But Erick had no reaction at all. He would only cast a glance at the nanny. Then he would go to the study as if nothing had happened. That bastard. He did not love me, and he did not love my child either. As soon as he left, the child would hold back his voice, tears streaming down his face. The nanny, of course, would soothe him with heartache until he finally calmed down, and there was nothing I could do. Chapter 06. In the year my child turned 5, he finally got an official name, Lucas. It was given by Erick's grandfather. I really liked that name. I circled around him, calling him Lucas, hoping that in this life he would be happy and carefree, even though he could not hear me. Recently, he had fallen in love with drawing, and he often drew a family of 3. In the picture were him and Erick, along with the outline of a woman. Lucas's pencil tip paused over that outline. With his left hand, he scratched his chubby little cheek and asked the nanny, Auntie, do you know what my mom looked like? The nanny shook her head. There were no photos of me in the house, because that bastard Erick had put them all away. He hated me. He could not even stand the sight of my photos. He did not leave a single one for the child. I was furious inside. But before I knew it, Lucas had already sneaked away while the nanny was not paying attention and padded off to the study. Surely he did not think Erick's study would have my photos. Did he? How could that be possible? And besides, hadn't Erick forbidden him from going into the study? Just then, outside came the sound of a car pulling up, along with Erick's voice talking to a woman, and that woman's voice was Luna's. She was back? I was actually a little surprised it had taken her this long to return. I had originally thought that the moment I died, Erick would marry her. As I was thinking this, the door opened. Erick came in first, holding a little boy in his arms, and Luna walked beside him, smiling. There was no need to guess that the little boy was Luna's son. No wonder Erick loved him so much. He had never once held Lucas. Bang! The sound of something falling came from upstairs. I looked up and only then saw Lucas. His tiny figure was standing on the stairs, looking down at his father holding another child. I did not know whether it was shock or sadness, but he had lost his grip on the photo frame in his arms, and it had fallen to the floor. And at that moment, Erick's face went black as ink. Chapter 07. What did you do? Erick let out a low roar and quickly walked over to Lucas. I hurried over too, standing in front of Lucas. Luckily, Erick did not hit Lucas, but the very first thing he did was pick up the photo from inside the frame. That made me even angrier. It was just a photo frame. I was still worried that the broken glass might cut Lucas's hand, but he was not the least bit worried about Lucas. Could it be that Lucas was not even worth as much as a photograph? My heart ached, but then I heard Lucas say, "Dad, is this Mom? Mom? Me?" I turned my face and saw the worn old photo in Erick's hand. At a glance, I recognized it as a photo of me from 10 years ago. That year, I was 16, and Erick was 17, before he went abroad. I gave him a book, and I had deliberately tucked the photo inside it. Later, I heard that he had never brought that book with him, but he did bring the scarf Luna gave him. "Dad, is this really my mom?" Lucas lowered his voice and asked him carefully, but Erick only kept smoothing out the creases in the photo, then looked at Lucas coldly. "Go to your room and reflect on what you did." Lucas drooped his face, but in the end, he still did not dare disobey Erick. His short little legs stepped up the stairs one by one, but from behind came another child's voice. "Uncle, he broke something. Is he a bad kid?" Chapter 08. Luna's child looked at Erick with an innocent expression. Luna hurried forward and patted the child's hand. "Don't say nonsense. Lucas didn't mean it." After saying that, she looked at Erick again. When she saw my photo in Erick's palm, a flash of astonishment crossed her face. But after glancing at wrong-looking Lucas, she quickly calmed down. "Erick, Lucas only took out Roma's photo by accident because he misses Roma. If you don't like it, I can take Roma's photo back with me. My mom misses her too. Anyway." As she spoke, she reached out her hand, but the moment her fingers touched one corner of the photo, Erick immediately blocked her. "No need," he said it coldly, then turned back to look at Luna's frozen face. His tone softened. "There's no need to trouble you." Chapter 09. Luna and her son stayed for dinner. Erick promised to help arrange the child's school enrollment. They were all enjoying themselves together, and my Lucas was locked upstairs all alone. Even dinner was eaten by himself in loneliness, with tears mixed into his rice. That night, I peeked at Lucas's diary for the first time. Today I saw Dad hold another kid, and I felt especially unhappy. I wish Dad could hold me too. That night, I held Lucas tightly. Chapter 10. Something happened the next day that gave me a huge fright. After breakfast, Lucas did not hurry off to school. He stood there with his little backpack on, waiting for Erick. The moment Erick came downstairs, Lucas stood up and ran over to him with quick little steps. His cheeks were rosy like he was wearing blush, and his whole face was glowing with delight. I thought to myself that I did not know who this child took after. He did not hold grudges at all. "Dad, Mom came to see me last night." She really did. She looked exactly the same as in the photo. My pupils shook. Lucas had actually seen me last night. No. How was that possible? I was already a ghost. Chapter 11. I had assumed Erick would only react with disdain. Yet his hand, which had been fastening his cuff, stopped in midair. His eyes burned as he stared at Lucas. "What did you say? Everything you said is true? You really saw her?" "No. How could you possibly have seen her? I haven't even seen her. If she really existed, she should have come to see me." It was as if Lucas had never seen Erick take his words so seriously. Light filled his eyes, and his little body took 2 steps forward. "Really, Dad, I really saw Mom. Mom even sang me a lullaby. It was 2 tigers." Before he could finish, Erick told him to shut up. "You must have been dreaming. Stop talking nonsense." Go to school. Lucas panicked. I'm not lying. I really saw her. And Mom smelled nice too. Dad, I don't want to go to kindergarten today. Can you take me to see Mom? Lucas wanted to go to the cemetery where I was buried. He knew his mother was dead. What came last night had only been his mother's spirit. But even so, he was still so happy. Yet when Erick heard that, he pushed him aside. You don't deserve it. Chapter 12. Lucas is still little. He does not understand what it means to deserve something or not. Looking at his confused little face, my heart ached so much it felt like it was about to split apart. Erick, do you really love me that much? If you really loved me, then why weren't you by my side when I needed you the most? If you really loved me, how could you treat my child like this? The one who caused my death was never Lucas. It was you. All of you. Chapter 13. I went with Lucas to kindergarten. That day, it just so happened that one of the children was celebrating a birthday. Lucas sang the birthday song, his eyes full of envy. The little classmate next to him asked, Lucas, when is your birthday? Can you invite me to eat cake too? Lucas shook his head. I never celebrate my birthday. His desk mate was shocked. Huh? Why not? I celebrate mine twice every year. You don't celebrate it even once? Lucas pressed his lips together. The day I was born, my mom died. My dad said I don't deserve to celebrate my birthday, so I just don't. Lucas took it in stride, but his little classmate did not understand. What does your mom dying have to do with you? My dad even says my birthday is the day my mom suffered, and my mom tells him to stop spouting crap. Ugh, dads are such buzzkills. Lucas looked at his desk mate with wide eyes. There was surprise in them, and envy. I knew what he was thinking. He was surprised that his classmate could complain about his father, and envious that his classmate had a mother who devoted herself wholeheartedly to him. I held my child painfully close. At that moment, I truly wished I could come back to life. If I could come back to life, I would never let Erick use Lucas as a punching bag for his emotions again. No one was allowed to bully Lucas. Just as I was thinking that, a white light suddenly swept me up. Chapter 14. When Lucas got out of school, the driver ran into trouble on the road and was very late. With his little backpack on, he stood obediently behind the teacher. Even though his stomach was growling with hunger, he did not cry or make a fuss. Just then, a middle-aged woman with her hair in a bun came out, leading a little boy by the hand. Even from a distance, I recognized at a glance that it was my mother, whom I had not seen in a long time, and the child she was holding was Luna's son. Luna's child recognized Lucas. The moment he opened his mouth, he called him a bad kid. Grandma, he's the bad kid from Uncle's house. He makes Uncle angry every single day. He even gets locked up as punishment. Last night he wasn't even allowed downstairs for dinner. No matter how good Lucas's temper was, he could not endure that kind of provocation. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm not talking nonsense. You don't even know who your mom is. You're just a bastard from Uncle's house. Grandma, it's because of him that my mom and Uncle can't get married. And it's because of him that I can't live in Uncle's big house. Right? That child's words were vicious. Lucas exploded. I'm not a bastard. If you say it again, I'll hit you. Lucas took off his backpack, threw it at that child, and rushed forward to start wrestling with him. Afraid Lucas would get hurt, I hurried forward to stop them, but someone moved faster than I did. You child, you're being way too rough. You really have no manners. At this very moment, along with that harsh scolding, my own mother shielded someone else's child behind her and at the same time raised her hand toward Lucas. And my voice, trembling with emotion, rang clearly through the air at that moment. How dare you touch him? Chapter 15. At last, I could openly hold Lucas in my arms and shield him from all harm, even though this body did not belong to me. When I woke up, my soul had entered my twin sister, who had been unconscious for years. Roma, didn't you die? My mother saw that her daughter was still alive, yet there was not the slightest trace of joy on her face. Mom, why don't you take a closer look at who I am? I brushed back my hair, revealing the red mole beside my ear. My mother Monica still had pretty good eyesight. She fixed her gaze, then took 2 steps back. Alice, you woke up? When did you wake up? she muttered to herself, but forgot to lower the hand she had raised to hit someone. Lucas looked fearfully at that hand and kept shrinking into my arms. Mom, are you really Mom? Mom, from now on, will you never leave again? I touched his head, the first time I had truly touched my child. So this was what he felt like in my hands, warm and soft, with that fluffy little feel. Yes, Mom will never leave Lucas again. Mom will stay with Lucas forever. No one will ever bully Lucas again. I picked Lucas up and held him in my arms. Then I looked at that face, both familiar and strange. Mom, this is the last time I'll call you that. Starting today, please take your old man, along with your daughter's whole family, and get out of my house. I knew it. She had already spent all the property she got from my father. The money they were using now all belonged to my sister and me. Chapter 16. I carried Lucas back to the house I used to live in. To my surprise, he was not uncomfortable at all. He just seemed a little distracted. Mom, are we really not going to want Dad anymore? He was only 5. How could he possibly understand that Erick used him as an outlet for his anger? It's Mom who doesn't want Dad anymore. Mom doesn't want to live with Dad anymore. So do you want to stay with Dad? Or with Mom? With Mom. Lucas answered almost without thinking. Mom is good to Lucas. I could not help laughing, but Mom and Lucas haven't even spent one full day together. Lucas shook his head. That's not true. Lucas stayed in Mom's tummy for 10 months. And didn't Mom sleep with me before too? Dad never sleeps with me. Before he could finish speaking, the doorbell rang. Lucas lifted his head, his face full of worry. Mom, do you think Dad came? Chapter 17. The people who came were not Erick, but the police. They took me away, on suspicion of child abduction. The one who reported it was Erick, but he himself did not come. Apparently, after learning that the child was missing, he handed the matter over to his assistant and then left for an overseas business trip. My heart went completely cold for Lucas. His child had gone missing, yet he was in no hurry at all, still able to go abroad on his own. Erick's assistant did not know me. He picked Lucas up, and when he heard Lucas call me Mom, he hurriedly asked the police. Officer, please hurry and investigate whether she drugged the child or something. This child has no mother. Lucas burst into tears all at once. I do have a mom. This is my mom. I don't want to leave my mom. Lucas struggled with all his strength to break free from the assistant's arms. He bit him when the man was not paying attention, then threw himself into my arms, refusing no matter what to let anyone take me away. I stroked his damp hair and sighed. Officer, I am Lucas's aunt, his mother's twin sister. If you don't believe me, you can investigate it. I think that, as the child's biological aunt, taking the child away doesn't count as abduction, does it? Chapter 18. The police investigated my identity and confirmed my relationship with Lucas. They only reminded me not to take a child away directly in the future without the consent of an immediate family member. I nodded, feeling stifled inside. That's right. Wearing my sister's body, I was not Lucas's immediate family. Erick was. Lucas seemed to understand the adult's words, and his little face scrunched up like a tiny old man. Mom, what lullaby did you sing to me that night? 2 tigers. See, she really is my mom. Everyone. Erick's assistant asked Erick for instructions. I don't know what reply he got, but he allowed me to take Lucas away. I was upset inside. One day, I would take my child back. Of course, before that, I had to take back my money. I went to the lawyer my father had used while he was alive. He had my father's written proof of how the property was to be divided. But of the inheritance my father had specifically left to me, 1/3 had already been sold off. That was enough to land someone's father in prison. I looked at Luna. She had already been shocked by my return to life. And the moment our eyes met, her whole body jolted. Mom, she grabbed Monica's hand. You can't just stand by and watch Dad get into trouble. Of course, Miss Monica would not. So she ordered me. Your uncle is my husband. Since you are my daughter, then you are his daughter too. So what if your father spent a little of your money, and you still want to sue him? You are not allowed to. Chapter 19. Did I still need to sue? I called the police directly. Once the case went through legal procedure, That man not only disgorged everything he had taken from me, he was also sentenced to 3 years. Outside the courthouse, my mother and Luna cried until they fainted. I thought to myself, it's still too early to cry, but none of that had anything to do with me anymore. After taking back all my property, I entrusted a lawyer to make Lucas the sole heir. As for my mother, I only gave her a lawful monthly living allowance. I did not concern myself with anything else. 1 week later, Lucas's birthday was coming up. Before Erick returned to the country, I wanted to give him a proper birthday celebration, but I didn't expect Erick to come back early. Right after Luna's father's trial ended, he hurried back to the country for love. Well, that was how the media put it. After all, they had once been a match made in heaven. Erick had publicly confessed to Luna at school. Back then, their ship had swept through the entire campus and had even become famous beyond it. That was fine too. He could go ahead and help Luna all he wanted, as long as he didn't come disturb me and Lucas. Yet, unexpectedly, that very night, ding dong, I had just lulled Lucas to sleep. And then he came. Chapter 20. I saw him first through the security monitor. Erick, the high-profile big boss everyone had admired these past years. Now he was unshaven, his tie hanging loose, looking a complete mess. I really did not want to open the door for him, but there were some things that had to be made clear. Click. The door opened. Come in, I said flatly, but Erick did not move. He stared at me, motionless. Roma, it really is you. I thought they were lying to me. So it really is you. His eyes reddened, and he walked over and pulled me into his arms. I did not move. In the past, I had really loved his embrace. He never smoked or drank, so he always smelled good. That faint mint and tea scent lingering on him was something I had always been deeply attached to. And after we got married, life had once been very good. He did not talk much, but every time he came back from a business trip, he brought me gifts, and every gift was something I wanted. For example, if I casually mentioned that some brand had released a new bag, within a week, that bag would appear on my dressing table. At night, I liked leaning against him to sleep. Before I got into bed, he would get ready in advance and turn his front toward me. For a while, I got tired of leaning that way and changed my sleeping position. He became very unhappy and kept steering the conversation toward it. If someone can so easily change even the way they sleep, does that mean they can also change their heart just as easily? I heard the hidden meaning in his words and felt helpless, so I had no choice but to lean into his arms every night. At that time, I thought I would lean on him until I was old, and now I wanted to test whether I really could only lean on him until I was old. Clearly, that was not the case. I leaned in Erick's arms for 10 seconds and felt a little suffocated. That so-called mint scent and tea fragrance actually did not smell that good after all. When I was a ghost, even the incense offerings smelled better than he did. Let go of me, I'm uncomfortable. Chapter 21. Roma. Shoo. Lucas is asleep. Come with me to the study if you want to talk. I cut him off and let him into the study. After carefully closing the door, I took out the custody transfer agreement. Sign it. From now on, Lucas will be mine. You can do whatever you want. Erick held the fountain pen, stunned for a long time, and then actually laughed. Roma, you came back only for the child? Then what about me? You really don't care about me at all anymore? He lifted his head, and tears actually fell from the corners of his eyes. Why? Am I really not even as important as that child? That child. In his eyes, Lucas was just that child. Erick, do you think you're the center of the universe? That the whole world is supposed to revolve around you? Lucas is not that child. He is my younger sister's child. Oh, right. I'm not Roma either. I'm Alice. But I believe Roma saw everything clearly, how you ignored Lucas these past 5 years. How you forced your own mistakes onto Lucas. She definitely would not want you to keep raising Lucas. Chapter 22. My Lucas had never celebrated a birthday. Because his birthday was the anniversary of my death. Because he did not deserve it. Did not deserve it. Those were the 2 words Erick said to Lucas more than anything else. No, you are Roma. Alice is already dead. During the 5 years after your death, I was the one looking after Alice before I went abroad. I gave her one last examination. Her kidneys had already deteriorated to the point of complete failure. He stared into my eyes, and in those dry, exhausted eyes of his, a smile actually surfaced. I wasn't completely sure at first, but the moment I saw your eyes, I knew it was you. We grew up together. I wouldn't mistake you. It was a completely illogical exposure, and yet impossible to refute, since it had come to this. There was no point pretending anymore. Yes, I'm Roma, so I'm begging you, give the child back to me. I love my child. I can't just stand by and watch you bully him. When Erick heard me admit it, the muscles in his face trembled, but he clenched his teeth and endured it. I didn't mean to. I just couldn't accept your death. I often think that if we hadn't had a child, maybe you wouldn't have died. At last, Erick revealed remorse, because he could not accept my death. How ridiculous. If you had stayed by my side back then while I was in labor, maybe the one who died would have been Luna. Could you have borne that? If Luna had died, would you have treated Luna's child like this? I asked Erick with a mocking laugh, and he actually gave me an earnest answer. I wouldn't have. I don't love Luna. Love or not love? I no longer wanted to struggle over that question. Erick, go home and read the diary Lucas wrote. Then decide whether you want to give up custody of Lucas and divorce me. Chapter 23. 2 days later, Lucas's birthday arrived. I bought a cake and presents and went to the kindergarten. I treated all of Lucas's classmates to cake, and I gave an especially big piece to Lucas's deskmate. His deskmate was very curious, but Lucas said his mom died. I came back to life. That's so magical. I smiled. Actually, it wasn't magical at all. Everything has its cause and effect. My life was not meant to end. That was why I had been able to stay by Lucas's side in spirit form for so many years. But how could all the good things in the world belong to one person alone? The kindergarten teacher told me that someone had arranged a mascot performance to celebrate Lucas's birthday. There was no need to guess who that person was. It was Erick. Only someone as rich as him could hire amusement park mascots to come out. I had no idea whether he had read Lucas's diary or not, or what exactly he was thinking. Still, Lucas had a very happy day. Because his classmates were happy, Lucas was a very well-behaved child. Near the end, he quietly said to me, "Mom, actually I don't like these mascots, but my classmates really like them. Please thank Dad for me." Why doesn't Lucas say it himself? Because Dad likes Mom, not me. Since it was Lucas's birthday, I recorded videos of everything, so I sent Erick this part of the video. Chapter 24. But Erick didn't understand at all. Lucas was right. I like you, Roma. There was a misunderstanding between us. Back then, that moment's post wasn't posted by me. That moment's post. Oh, if he hadn't brought it up, I would have forgotten about it. But, wasn't he the one who left me behind to go take care of Luna? Why bother explaining? Besides, there's long since been no need for explanations between him and me. If, during these 5 years, he had treated Lucas well, I would even have been grateful to him. But he didn't. So no matter how much he loves me, even if he had never hurt me, I still couldn't forgive him. In the end, I still couldn't stand Erick always centering everything on the love between adults. So I called him directly. I hope you understand that there's long since no need for us to talk about love or romance anymore. You didn't treat my child well, and for that reason alone, I cannot forgive you. I am a mother before I am your former wife. Don't even think about using your worthless love to replace Lucas's place in my heart. In the end, I begged him, just sign the papers. Roma, is your child the only thing you see? You only came back because of the child. What nonsense. If it were only you, I'd have reincarnated ages ago. I wouldn't even wait for you at Niha Bridge. Chapter 25. Erick threw harsh words at me. He wouldn't divorce me. Never. So, he started trying to win Lucas over again. Every weekend, he came to us under the pretense of building a father-son bond. I had no grounds to refuse him. It all depended on Lucas. Lucas was a polite child. He never refused directly, but he was very tactful. I need to stay home and do homework. What's there to worry about? Dad can teach you. No need. Someone else teaches me. And who is that? Uncle. Erick stormed straight into my home. I was furious. Erick. I'm calling the police right now. Erick ignored me and walked straight into the study. Which uncle? Where is he? In the end, he saw Lucas's online class on the screen. For a moment, his face turned red from embarrassment. Lucas couldn't understand. Dad, what's wrong? Did I make you angry again? Maybe you shouldn't come see me anymore. Lucas really was such a good child. He knew Erick didn't love him, but he never complained. He told me, Dad is very busy with work. I heard he has to support several hundred people in the company, so it's normal that he doesn't have much patience. I don't blame Dad. Children are born loving their parents. But what about parents? At last, Erick's jealousy-fogged mind finally calmed down at that moment. He looked at Lucas, and a trace of guilt appeared in his eyes. It's not your fault. Do your homework properly. Dad's leaving first. Before leaving, he put down a transformer, but after glancing at the desk, he took it back again. He realized that gentle, studious Lucas didn't like that kind of thing, and only now had he realized it. Chapter 26. The next day, I received the custody transfer papers already signed by Erick. He gave Lucas's custody to me, except when absolutely necessary. He would not disturb Lucas and me, but he hoped to spend holidays, as well as Lucas's birthday, together with us. I thought he would remarry and have children of his own in the future, so I agreed to that condition without much thought. Yet year after year, he never remarried. At the same time, Luna's life became miserable. After I took back all the property, they moved back into their old rundown house. Every month, I only gave Monica the basic support she legally needed for retirement. It was nowhere near enough for them to live on. Very soon, they fell out. Monica was thrown out by Luna. You're not even my real mother, so stop trying to take up my space. If I had one less room taken up, I could even rent it out. As a result, Monica cried and cursed the heavens, calling Luna heartless. Luna stood there with her hands on her hips, laughing. You're the one who's shameless. You threw away your own daughter for a man, even used your daughter's property to support him. Who the hell would respect you? Get out. Get out. Stop dirtying up my place. Monica was so furious from being scolded that she coughed up blood. Unable to swallow her rage, she set Luna's house on fire. In the end, Monica went mad, and Luna lost her home. She wandered everywhere with her son, relying on charity just to survive. And from beginning to end, Erick never once reached out to help, but I wasn't curious about the reason. As long as he didn't disturb me while I watched the show, that was enough. Chapter 27. When Lucas turned 18, I began to feel life slipping away. I also often dreamed that my sister, who had been dead for a long time, had come to take me with her. In the dream, I felt only happiness. I was someone who had already died once. To be able to come back to life and stay by Lucas's side for more than 10 extra years was already thanks to heaven's exceptional mercy, and to the body my sister gave me. Now that it was time for me to leave, that too was heaven's will. So I made arrangements for many things after my death. These past years, Erick had behaved well enough that I was reluctantly at ease leaving Lucas in his care. But what I did not expect was that Erick would go before me. He died in his sleep. The only thing I could not understand was why. He was clearly still young, and he had neither illness nor disaster. But when I saw the final words he left behind, I understood immediately. Erick wanted Lucas and me to live well. Erick, Epilogue. Chapter 1. While I was on a business trip abroad, I had a dream. I dreamed of Roma. Roma had been gone for 5 years. It was the first time I had dreamed of her. But she scolded me harshly. She said I had abused Lucas. And she even said that she wouldn't let me off even as a ghost. What a liar. I wish she wouldn't let me off. But she never came to see me even once. After waking up that night, I couldn't fall asleep again. I checked my phone several times, and my assistant told me that both the child and the traffickers had been found. After that, I didn't care anymore. That's true. I don't care about that child, because I don't want to. Every time I see him, I always think that if it weren't for him, Roma wouldn't have died. Everything had been normal during Roma's prenatal checkups. So how could she have ended up with an amniotic fluid embolism? That child really came into this world to collect a debt. I hated him to the extreme. That night, I sat in the chair for a very long time. In the second half of the night, I got a call from Luna. She said her father had gotten caught up in a lawsuit and asked me to help. I questioned her again and again about the reason, and only then did I learn that it had something to do with Luna. So I refused. But Luna went crazy, questioning whether I still loved her or not. Love. Of course I don't love her. I never loved Luna. After all these years, I had long since stopped wanting to hide it. The truth is, I proposed to you because you loved me, not because I loved you. You saved me, and I was grateful to you. I always felt that marrying you was the only choice. But you actually asked me to marry Roma. To be honest, I was really happy. Luna donated one of her kidneys to me. I saved her life. That counts as even. But what about Roma's life? And also, I never held it against you for posting that Moments post with my phone 5 years ago. Now, we should consider ourselves even too. After saying that, I hung up, leaving Luna to twist the truth however she wanted. Actually, 5 years ago, when I flew abroad to protect Luna, I was already thinking that it would be the last time I ever helped her. From then on, between Luna and Roma, I would only choose Roma. But at that time, I hadn't realized that there would be no future for Roma and me. Chapter 2. After returning to the country, I stayed in a constant state of depression. I stopped being a doctor, because I could not even save my own wife. As for that child, I did not even want to look at him. Only later did I realize how foolish that thought was. 5 years later, Roma came back. She really came back. Beautiful, alive, and real. The very first second I saw her, I pulled her tightly into my arms. She cooperated with me and did not move at all. She was still just as obedient. I thought she had come back for me, but she had not. That time was actually the last time I ever held her. Later, Roma did not want me anymore. She said I had not treated Lucas well. At that time, I was truly furious. So it turned out that she had not come back for me, but for that child. Roma was very angry. She said Lucas was not that child. She said Lucas was the child she loved most. She even told me to go home and read Lucas's diary. I did not read it, but after she came back, I also could not help myself from growing fond of Lucas. Chapter 3. Lucas is a very smart child. He knows that the reason I like him is because of Roma. I gave him a toy performance figure he didn't even like, and he still said thank you to me. Does a son need to thank his father? No, I intended to get closer to him, and in a way, use that chance to get closer to Roma too. But I didn't expect that child to be afraid of me, afraid of causing me trouble. Looking at the fear in his eyes, I felt that I wasn't a good father. No, I felt that I wasn't a good person. After I got home, I read Lucas's diary. On some day of some month of some year, Dad scolded me. But he worked overtime until very late today. He works so hard. So I think I'll forgive him. Dad smells so strongly of cigarettes. I want him to smoke less. But he never listens to me. It makes me so sad. Today I saw Dad hugging another child. I felt especially unhappy. I wish Dad could hug me too. By the time I finished reading the diary, I had already smoked an entire pack of cigarettes. But it still didn't feel like enough. I really wanted to go explain to Lucas that I hadn't meant to hold Luna's son. Luna's hand was uncomfortable, and that child's leg was injured too. But what kind of reason was that? Would I have held Lucas for the same reason? When he was little, I never held him either. Chapter 4. Ever since Roma came back, I've always been afraid that she'll disappear again. On holidays and festivals, I'm fortunate enough to catch a glimpse of her. As long as I see her, I'm satisfied. Time passed quickly. Lucas turned 18. Roma actually told me to look after Lucas's future properly from now on, and not let him go down the wrong path. Yes, 18 is exactly the most critical turning point, but Roma seems a little too worried. Something is wrong with her. That night, I had a dream. I dreamed of a white little ball. The white little ball told me that Roma was going to leave. I asked it to keep Roma here, if possible. I'd trade my life for hers. Are you trying to atone for your sins? No, Because I love her. I don't deserve to say that. Let's just treat it as sleep talk from a dream I couldn't wake up from.